Hey, what's up, everybody? I wanted to do an analysis of Noah's tournament history through the USKG Golf Foundation. Basically, download some data around all his tournaments and just look for some trends, some averages, things of that nature. So I thought it'd be helpful to make a video. Maybe there's other people out there that want to do something similar. Two things you're going to need: a USKG Golf account and a spreadsheet, whether it be an Excel file or I'm going to use Google Sheets. It's free, a little bit easier to work with for me. So as you can see here, I'm logged into my USKG Golf account. I'm going to go to Add and Edit Players. I'm going to select Noah. You could select multiple children if you have them. Then I'm going to click on this tournament history right here, and it pulls up all the tournaments that Noah's played in, the places, the rank that he got, the number of strokes, and then season points as he's received them. I just want the local tour events because those are 9 holes, and I want to keep it consistent. The Worlds was 3 days, or maybe it was only 2. I can't even remember. Yeah, 3 days of events there. So I'm going to take this down, just click and drag all the way to the bottom, or right click and copy that. You could also use Control Z. Make sure I click in this cell, and let's see if it works this time. Nope. Alright, I'm going to click. We don't want it to look like that. Let's see if I can paste. Alright. A little finicky. It's in there now. So, trying to do just values only. Of course, my computer wants to freeze. I'm going to take out some of these heading rows. He's played in multiple tours, so those will show up. I don't know why the date didn't format correctly, but I'll fix that. I'm going to insert a row, and I'm just going to add column headings. Age, rank, strokes, points. And you could copy those over from this file or this page if you wanted to, and if you know how to actually download the data into a CSV or something like that, that'd be really helpful for me. We could just comment in the video, that would be great, or shoot me a message. So the next thing that I want to do, if I wanted to do like an analysis by location, you can see that a lot of these locations are affixed with the season or even a tour championship. So one way you can separate that out is to break it out by the delimiter, whether it's the hyphen or the parentheses. But I'm actually going to insert a column, because if you don't insert the column, it's going to separate this particular column out into 2, and it's just going to overwrite the neighboring column. So I'm actually going to do 2 separations. So I'll start with the first one. So I got the column selected. I go up to data. I'm going to split text to column. And then down here it's got this really small dialog box, but I'm going to use custom. And in here I'm just going to put a space and then a hyphen, and that should get rid of the season element. As you can see, it's already kind of previewing how that's going to look. I think that's all I would need to do there. And I'm going to delete this because I don't need that, or at least I don't want that in my particular analysis. So then I'm going to add another column because, again, I don't want it to overwrite, and I just want to get this tour championship out of here. So again, split text. I'm going to do custom. And this time I'm going to go space, open parentheses. I hope these are parentheses. And there you see it moves the tour championship over. So this is cool if I wanted to group scores or averages, min, maxes by the location. If I wanted to know where my player potentially performs the best, or where they've done the most tournaments. So from here, maybe some of you are familiar with pivot tables, but I'm going to use a pivot table to quickly just kind of aggregate the data. I'm actually going to remove this top event because he hasn't played in it yet. That's to come. And then I'm going to take these bottom 2 out as well, because those are withdrawals. I think that was some bad weather over in Arkansas. Or anyways, so I got my table of data here. Take this 4 out. Now you can just click and drag down, select all of the data, or you can just Control A. It'll do the same thing. And up here you can insert and drop in a pivot table. I'm going to do the existing sheet, And then I'm going to tell the sheet where I want this table at. So I'll click in H2 and I'm going to hit OK, and we should get a blank pivot table. Alright, so from here you can do a number of different things. One cool thing is to do the location, so we can drag this over as a row. It's going to list out all the events, and then you can take the strokes down to values, and we can count. We can do a count A, so that'll essentially just give us all the times a score was recorded at that particular event, and we can rename this actually. I'll say times played, or maybe events played would be better. And then I can add the average, which is cool. Oh, come on, didn't mean to do that. Let's see here. So we got strokes. I'm gonna add this a couple of times and just kind of tweak it from there. I'm not gonna do a min max because I don't know that it provides a ton of insight. But there we go. So let me format this, get rid of the decimals. I like to see at least 2 decimals, maybe just 1. Alright, so we got 39 events played through the US Kids Golf, average score of 52. I don't know what I was going to say there other than the fact that that's not where I'd like it to be, but hey, it is what it is. You can see that the most events were played at Audubon, and we've got a few one-offs here, and the next up is Fox. Surprisingly, some of the lowest scores are at courses that we only played for the first time. You would think playing Audubon a number of times you would see a little bit better performance there, but it doesn't always work out that way. So that's kind of a cool quick way you can do some aggregate information. Another thing we could add in here instead of tournament is the age. It's potentially insightful. So I tried to look at this in terms of, is the average getting better? It does look like Noah, for example, has done on average about 2 strokes better than he did when he was 7. Not much progression from 6 and under. So I did want to do another chart that I'll add a trend line in, and I think for some people it'll be more insightful than what Noah has here, but I'll just show you how to do that. So that's a quick way to manipulate a pivot table. Let me select some data and I'll add a chart in here, which is kind of cool. So again, I'm going to select all here, and I'm just going to insert a chart. So it brings up this generic chart. We'll have to take a few things out here. So I'm going to leave in the date and the strokes, but I'm going to actually add the date as the horizontal axis, or the x-axis. I'm going to take out the date from the y-axis, and yeah, there we go. So this is by date. I'm going to scroll over a little bit so I can make this chart a little bigger. So this is all the events played by date. And one more thing I actually want to do is I want to sort this by date so we get a solid left to right in our chart. Let's see if that worked. Okay, let me edit this chart. I'm going to go to the customize horizontal axis. I'm going to reverse the axis order. So you can see over here we have his first tournament is on the right. I want that on the left. So this is how I'm going to, I could either resort the table and go first to last as opposed to last to first, but that's just how I set it up. So now we got first tournament's on the far left, last most recent tournament's on the far right. And just looking at this grouping, you can see that Noah obviously falls in the 40 to 60 range. We don't have anything that's sub 40, something we're hoping to get to. I think we will with time. But one thing I wanted to add in here was the actual data label, so you can see the scores on here. Okay, cool. And a trend line. Let's go ahead and do that. So if I go into the series option here, scroll down, there is a trend line option. You just click this box and you can format it make it a different color, maybe make it less opaque or more opaque, I'm not sure which one, and make it a little thicker so you can see. So this is pretty interesting. I didn't expect to see this when I was plotting the data, but kind of happy to see it, that there is a trend over time and it is going down. Obviously not as much as you'd like to see it, but it definitely is. And I don't know the calculations to get to a solid, or at least I didn't do enough research to figure out, what the trend is. But it can't be more than a couple of strokes over time that we're getting better, and I can see that this season. We had a round that was close to 60, but sorry about that. That was my phone. Uh, but nothing. We didn't have any 60s, so that was great. And had a couple of 40s, a couple of low 50s. Um, the data doesn't tell everything. You can see some consistency popping up in the drives and in the second shots, the chips, the putts. Wish I had that data in here, and I am starting to track that in the golf shot app per round, so I can get some more statistical information on putts per round and greens and regulations, fairways hit, and all that good stuff. So uh, I might go ahead and clunk around here with. I did like a buckets, so like for each tournament, what did the total score? What bucket did it fall in? Is it a 45 to 50, 50 to 55, 55 and up, sub 45? Um, Actually, I'm not gonna do that here, but it was pretty cool to see that the last year and a half, I'd say, there was more of the lower buckets than the upper buckets. So that's important to kind of look at. If you're seeing an average score of 52, that could be higher just due to some of the earlier events where the scores were higher. So pretty interesting stuff. And yeah, one last thing I think I'll show you how to do here is just a conditional formatting. So I'm going to actually select the strokes here, go to format, and then do the conditional formatting. And what I want to do, I'm going to put this on a color scale. So by default, it's going to put in this, if the cell contains this, then do this particular color. But there's an option for a color scale up here. And what this is going to do is look at the min and the max and apply a certain color for the lowest and a certain color for the highest. And I'm actually going to click here and select more of a green to red type fill. And you can see visually the reds were some of the earlier tournaments, the darker shades. And as we get up towards the more recent events, they are, green and yellow, which is indicative of improving over time, I think. So, but yeah, that's it. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, if someone has a way to download that tournament history into a CSV or a file of some sort, would love to know how to do that. And yeah, hope this is helpful to somebody.